the Broncos paid a lot for Russell Wilson, both in draft picks and the contract that he got not long before the regular season began. Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, has been limited all week with his shoulder injury. And, of course, he's going to play. The question is, how will it affect him? We haven't seen the best of him yet. We've seen it in flashes. The drive against the 49ers,
right,
where they won the game. That's it. That's when it was old school Russ, running the ball, climbing the pocket, using his legs, finding a way to be faster and more nimble and agile than the other guys around him. But for the most part, it's been uninspiring. For the most part, these Broncos have not been what Broncos fans demanded. I remember in our initial power rankings, I had them at 19, and I was starting to be fearful that I was going to get a box from somebody in the 303 area code that was maybe ticking. They were not happy with me. So, look, 2-2, squarely middle-of-the-pack team. On the bottom half of that middle of the pack, I would say. They're not a great team right now, and they have a lot of injuries going into this game. Javonte Williams out for the year. Melvin Gordon takes over as the number one tailback. They've got Mike Boone, who I think should probably get plenty of opportunities tonight, especially with Melvin Gordon fumbling the ball 4 times in 4 games. They picked up Latavius Murray from the Saints practice squad as well.
Yeah, good pickup.
But they've just got to get something going that makes us say this is why they gave up all that money and all those draft picks to go get Russell Wilson. Because right now, sorry, Russ, but Geno Smith looks a hell of a lot better than you do through 4 games. And I know there's 13 games to go, but so far, quarter of the season, kind of, Geno Smith making the Seahawks look smart for drawing the line in the sand with Russell Wilson and saying, we're just not going to continue this pay you franchise quarterback money because we don't regard you as franchise quarterback. Seahawks so far have been vindicated.
Well, yeah, they have, no doubt. I mean, their offense has been more explosive, especially through the passing game. Explosive and surgical. You can say whatever you want, consistent, anything you want. I mean, again, Geno Smith, as I was trying to tell people, right, during the preseason, there's some real tangible skill to the guy. We'll see if it holds up, but there's talent there. There is. And then he's putting it all together right now and tearing people up. He's the second-rated quarterback in football? I know rating doesn't say everything, but it says something, and it tells you he's playing good football. As far as Russell Wilson's concerned, yeah, Mike, I mean, you said it. They're not paying, north of $45 million a year for the 21st offense in football and, a passing offense that's not good right now. I mean, there's no consistency in the passing game. Now, now to me, like, they have a little more hope than the Colts or potential. We know their defense is really good. The Colts defense is good too, but I think there's, more dominating playmaking factors on the Denver Broncos defense. And for the Colts offense compared to the Broncos offense, there's I think at least more potential here to be had. There's no doubt about that. We know they run the ball pretty effectively, but like they have guys on the outside where we talked about the Colts where, there's nobody that scares you and Matt Ryan's arm doesn't scare you. Russell still has a big arm. And then Jerry Jeudy, Sutton, KJ Hamler, I mean, they're scary. I mean, they are. He hit a big post to KJ Hamler last week, just right down the football field. But the problem with Russell right now is something that we've talked about a lot. These plays right here, passes over the middle, are few and far between. And then, Mike, here's my other issue, because I really watched this game thoroughly on Tuesday on film. If it's not one-on-one or the first read like you saw right there with that throw, Russell Wilson doesn't complete any passes other than that. If it's not one-on-one down the sideline or one-on-one shot ball for a post, or, hey, I know that offense and it's rooted in a lot of Gruden and Shanahan stuff, right, with Nathaniel Hackett, plays where I go, okay, this is the first read. If he's not wide open, then nothing's going to happen in the passing game. It's not. He's not going to go to the second, the third, the fourth receiver. Really, it's the second.
What does he do, though? What does he do? If the first guy's not there, what's he doing?
He almost goes right down to the rush and starts to look around and move and try to scramble and then tries to throw a short pass. And really, it's more than a handful of times in every game I've watched so far on film this year where I come away going, there's 6, 7, 8, 9 plays every game where I go, this play's called for this coverage. these guys are open here. Yeah, the first guy might have not been open, but man, 2, 3, and 4 are wide open. What exactly is he looking at? Why didn't he pull the trigger and do it? And there's a little of that where I'm sure he's still getting used to the offense and whatever else, but that to me is the concerning point where, we can look at the Colts and say, yeah, Matt Ryan's getting old and the offensive line's not good. Right now with the Broncos, I don't say those things. I just go, Russell's not playing very good. Period. There's plays and completions to be had, and they're having to basically run the ball and just hope he can make a play every now and then right now instead of running a consistent offense that can pick you apart like a $47 million a year quarterback should.
And I take no pleasure in this whatsoever because I made no prediction about what was going to happen.
Yeah.
The point that we made all along is that Russell Wilson wanted to be the straw that stirs the drink. He wanted to be Mahomes. He wanted to be Josh Allen. He wanted to be Aaron Rodgers. And the Seahawks never viewed him that way. The Seahawks, who knew him better than anyone in the NFL ever would or could, made the assessment, we're not going to set this thing up to run through you. That's where let Russ cook came from 2 years ago when they were great early in the season. Oh, he's never had an MVP vote. This year he may get all of them. And then it all fell apart because the defenses started to adjust and they couldn't pivot when they started to take away whatever they had cooked up in the offseason to allow Russ to cook. I remember being told, if they don't let Russ cook, he's going to go find a different kitchen, and he did. That leads me to another point, Chris.
Yeah.
It was after that 2020 season that we saw miserable Russ watching Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in Super Bowl 55.
Right.
We started to hear Russ talk about his unhappiness with certain things in Seattle. And then came the very memorable exchange between his agent, Mark Rodgers, and Shefty. Hey, Rodgers said, my client wants to stay with the Seahawks. However, in the event that he were to be traded, he would waive his no trade clause for unprecedented. The Bears, Raiders, Cowboys,
Saints.
And I mentioned the Saints for one very important reason.
Yeah.
Well, for two. Number one, the former Saints coach Sean Payton is available, so you better mind your P's and Q's there, Nathaniel Hackett. Secondly, Payton was on with Colin Cowherd earlier this week.
Right.
And they asked Payton what he would do with Russell Wilson.
Oh, let me hear this.
What he said, first, I'd want a cut-up of all of Russell's pass plays of 30 or more yards from the field. I'd want to see, are there schemes that he's more comfortable with? I know they did a great job in Seattle of bringing him off of a naked bootleg and then pulling up, and we all saw that throwback to Tyler Lockett, 60 yards in the air. I'd want to see all those plays. Then I'd want a look at another film of his red zone touchdown passes inside the 20. All of his red zone touchdown passes inside the 20. So I'm asking my assistants, give me his greatest hits, and then we have to make sure we've got the same song lyrics available in our offense. That's what Sean Payton would be doing right now. Basically, the best of the best that worked in Seattle, we got to get that into our offense in Denver because it's currently not there.
It's 100%, and I want to get to this because it's an interesting thing. There's no doubt about it, and it's something like that's what I said similarly at the end of my notes with this, where I basically said like, the Seattle, not the Seattle, the Denver Broncos, it's a little concerning, like we've talked about, with the lack of offense. It is. Again, we know week 1, the second half, it was good. Week 2, right, the Houston Texans, who were not ready to write home to say, hey, that's one of the best defenses in football. In fact, it's one of the worst. They couldn't throw the football. Week 3, the 49ers, good defense, still couldn't throw the football. But then there's last week, too. And the Raiders, again, another defense, nothing to write home against. And, they had favorable field position the whole game. And it's just too spotty. And to what Sean Payton's saying, and one of the things I wrote to sum up kind of my 2 pages of notes on the Broncos offense was, either Russell's got to start playing better and understanding the offense and really get into the intricacies of, knowing and trusting the offense and going through the reads and some plays he's on the wrong side of the field where I go, no, on this coverage, you got to be over here. You can't be over there. And again, I know this is a learning process, but I said either he's got to get better and trust the offense and read it and play in the pocket the right way without looking around and doing that at the first guy's not open, Or to Sean Payton's point, they got to devise a system of just one-on-one ball on the outside and take shots down the field. That's really what it is. I mean, it's got to be one or the other, and I don't know where it goes. I don't think it's going to be truly realistic to do the latter part that I'm saying here, one-on-one shots and just shots down the field, to devise a whole offense around that. But at the very least, it's disappointing right now. We just talked about Matt Ryan. The third worst scoring offense in football is the Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson. What? They're one of the worst, if not the worst, with first downs in all of football. They are third to last in football. I mean, that's just it's unacceptable with, one, the coaching they have there in the offense, and the offense is good. I don't look at that offense, Mike, and go, oh, wow, it doesn't give you any answers. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett, you can say what he wants, and I know he's made his mistakes. It's not a stupid or bad offense. And then, and so I look at that, and then you go to the talent like we were talking about, Mike, and you go, well, there's talent. They got matchup issues there. They should not be where they're at. And I'm never one to just sit here and go quarterback, but this is one where it's a lot quarterback. It is, for what you're paying and what you're expecting from this kind of guy who, like you said, wanted this type of, challenge.
And here's the most important point, I believe.
Right.
We were led to believe throughout the offseason, whenever Nathaniel Hackett would speak on this topic, they were constructing an offense specifically for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, do the things he does well. Do you get the impression they've done that? And if they haven't done that, it sounds like they haven't done that. Why haven't they done that? Did they maybe realize this guy isn't the guy to build an offense around? We just need to plug him into our offense? Because it feels like they're just plugging him into the offense rather than building the offense around him.
Well, I think they are building it around him to a degree, but there is still just certain situations where you got to be able to run the offense and do that. And where I would believe the disconnect happened, and I've heard this, even from people in Seattle over the years, where, practice, we get this coverage and he throws it and does it and makes the aggressive play and goes to the right spot. But for whatever reason, when you get in the game, things change a little bit. So you think, oh, wait, he's got this. He's comfortable. He's good here. And then the game comes around, and there's a little reluctancy to pull the trigger on a consistent basis. He's a shorter quarterback, so you're going to have issues with that, like we've talked about. And, there's a little bit more rush watching that goes on. And I think that's where they're kind of figuring out, we got to figure out he practices like this, but he plays like this. So we got to kind of find the middle here. But like with the outside, they're trying to find shots to take down the field. They are, but teams, of course, are a little ready for it because they know that's like the one thing right now in their passing offense that can hurt you, right, is that. So they're going, wait, when they get one of these running sets and it looks like they might run power football, let's be a little safe here because this could be the play action Cortland Sutton post down the middle, right? So teams are a little ready for it. And then they are trying to throw the ball outside and make things good for him. But I did a play on social media yesterday, and there was probably 6, 7, 8 more plays that I could have shown in the Raider game alone to where I'd go, there's guys here open outside the numbers, and we're just not getting there as an offense or Russell Wilson. And that to me is, that I'm putting more on him than Nathaniel Hackett is what I'm telling you, I guess, basically, yes.
I'm choosing my words here carefully.
Yeah.
We saw last Thursday night that Richard Sherman, who has a long history of hating Thursday night football because it requires players to play with limited opportunity to rest and recover.
Oh, now he's going to get to talk about Russ.
Not delve into his true feelings because he's sitting at the desk collecting a check from Thursday night football. I'll let others decide whether and to what extent that's hypocritical. Second, he doesn't like Russell Wilson. He gets a chance to crap on Russell Wilson tonight. And I've seen some of it on Twitter subtly. And he has a podcast, and he was going in on Russ after the Week 1 game saying that, hey, Peyton Manning would have called a timeout there amid all that confusion in the game against the Seahawks. I wonder how much they're going to tee Richard Sherman up tonight.
Yeah.
To go after the deficiencies in Russell Wilson's play. Even if it's just a conversation like we're having now.
Yeah, right.
Will he do that? Will he shy away from it? Let's see. He's very big on reacting to criticism by saying, let's have a face-to-face conversation with that implicit intimidation. I mean, Richard, we're adults here. We know what you mean when you suggest let's talk about it face-to-face. You want to intimidate people with your presence. I get it. Let's see what happens tonight when he's face-to-face with a camera. Let's see what he says about Russell Wilson. Very curious.
No, I can see that happen.
How that plays out.
Fitzpatrick is going to break it down. I mean, he will, to where I would imagine this conversation happens a little bit, but you're right. It's going to be interesting to see how delicate or, how deep they go into the subject. But, usually Fitz is pretty good about finding, the right theme with the quarterback and maybe what we're missing or talking about or whatever that way. And, I wouldn't be shocked to see him show a few of these plays I'm talking about. And then now, hey, Richard Sherman, what do you think? And then he goes off. So that'll definitely got me tuned in the pregame tonight on Amazon. Count me in those numbers.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.